Hey, what's up, Brian? It's Ryan. Um, you know, I've been I've been fighting addiction for a while now. Um, I did a 3.5 year bit in prison uh, because of my addiction. Um, I came out and had quite a bit of things going for me. Uh, and you know how addiction is. You get this clever idea that you can control it again, but you can't. And and so I used it again. And And then my nephew died, and he was like my son. Uh, I was so out of it, which you know I don't think I was, uh, but the family decided that I shouldn't. I shouldn't attend the funeral, and and so I sat dressed that day, and it took everything I had not to go, walk in the funeral. It was my nephew. I know from knowing my nephew that he might have said, Uncle Ryan, what are you doing? Like, you should have came. It's your nephew. Forget what anybody else said. Just, you should have came and said goodbye. But I didn't. And then, I couldn't wrap my mind around it just being random. And I still don't think it was random. But, you know, it's just me. What am I going to do? Uh, that's been like the stumbling block for me. Uh, so, hmm, I've never felt so low or so, I guess the word might be unworthy or uh, unmotivated uh, to get clean and sober and and possibly fulfill whatever God's purpose is for my life. Uh, I was trying not to get emotional, but I was listening to, all I listen to is Christian hip hop. I seen today on Vivo it says holy hip hop. That's all right. I like Christian hip hop better. Uh, but they used to play it on VH1. It was called Uplifting Urban. Lecrae was on there a lot. So, I was listening to you guys all night, you know, uh, in my mess. And, you know, it's funny how I know where the power lies. I know I I'm aware that I'm doing everything else to try and make myself feel better. When there's only one thing that will fill that void. And and so I read your biography. Well, first let me talk about the music because you guys had, I mean, you talk about revelation and you talk about uh, God speaking to you and the Holy Spirit giving you that gift of discernment, and it's definitely there even in my addiction. And as you know, there's a lot of evil around us, and and I'm not a saint. You know, I lie. I don't tell the truth about my addiction. I mean, to some people I will. You know, I'll be an open book to some people, but some people will use it against me. And, uh, and it's happening. And, and so, you know, there's this battle that I can't see. You know, I see it, but it's, you know, you can't determine whether it's the enemy or God speaking sometimes. And you know, I let a person in my life again, and I'm not saying it doesn't take two to tangle. Um, you know, and I just started to get those same thoughts about that person, and you know, that consumed me. It took my eyes off of God, Jesus, and here I am talking to you because I heard KB, uh, which is also my prison nickname, and so I heard KB Lecrae, you, young bro a little bit. I really like him. Antoine. Uh, who else? Andy Mineo. Uh, you know, not every song, but the majority spoke right here to me. And you know, I'm at a lost. I'm lost on what to do. Do I run away? Do I run to God? Is it a trap? Um, you know, people have used God in my life to get to me before, and you know, not cool, right? You know, that would be like the lowest thing somebody could do on earth, would be to use God to hurt people or to use people. And I know what Revelation, it's 20 or 21, uh, what it says about Satan. And he's going to be roaming around extra angry in the end times, and trying to kill as many as he can. You know, I don't want to be part of that group. You know, I still haven't accepted that my nephew's dead. You know, I understand you had a brother named Ryan, and it's, you know, drug use, maybe some paranoia there, but in my defense, I do have a very sound mind, and you know, when I see the spelling of Ryan and Brian with the double N's, I think of my daughter, who's named Jordan, with the double N's, and then I think of my first name, Ryan, your brother's first name, Ryan, and you know, is it divine? Is it ordained? Was it put into place by God, or was it put into place by Satan? And you know, I've felt this, and I've seen it. Somebody has to be messing with me. I mean, it's obvious, and you know, you guys can't hide it, or whoever's doing it. You know, I won't go into all that crap, but so out of spite, I've still continued to get high. You know, no addict wants to, you know, just uh, get high every day. Yes, the day before, whatever, I'm sitting with the paraphernalia, and I got it in my hand, and I'm getting ready to, you know, use, and I just burst out in tears. Like, that's what it's gotten to. Anyway, when I got out of prison, uh, I called up a guy who used to work for an organization. It wasn't no good, man. They were selling beds versus selling recovery. And so I left that organization, but I thought this guy was a good guy. He left too. And, well, he left after me, so I don't know the whole story. So, uh, so I hook up with him again, and I call him, or I message him, Facebook. I say, hey man, I'm looking for a job in recovery. Um, can you hook me up? And he says, yeah, you'd make a great PES, is what they call them, patient engagement specialist. I said, all right, what's that? He's like, entry level position, and you come in and you keep the patients engaged in their recovery. I said, all right, that's pretty simple. And it never crossed my mind that I'd ever use again. And coming out of prison, I had big plans with my nephew. Uh, not to earn money or anything, but just to hang out, summertime, work out, with my daughter too, my daughter and son. When I got that job, I was like, wow, 45 days out of prison, and God gives me this job in this recovery center. I very well could have been lying the whole time in prison. Could have been getting high every day. Nobody would have known, but I didn't do that. When the opportunity presented itself, I tried to mentor guys, walk them through the steps, bring them to have a personal relationship with God, teach them what the steps were about, and it's just having a personal relationship with God, and which will solve your problem, and that felt good. I'm sure you can relate. Uh, that it's probably the best feeling you've ever had in your life. And it probably just keeps getting better, especially with videos like this or messages that come through to you. Anyway, so, I had that strong desire to continue to help people. And in your pride, your ego, it gets in the way, it creeps up on you. A subtle foe. And I got high and I couldn't help myself. I still can't. And, I can't explain it. I can't explain why. There's no other explanation than like Satan, possibly. Satan devising this big plan to get me back in his realm, in his world, and be a part of the world, and kill me. And that's not how I want to go out, especially with my nephew passing. And I'm sure you can relate. There's probably that battle in the beginning for you. I don't know how long it took you, but it's been long enough for me. I'm ready to give it away. I'm over it. I only want people in my life that love me And if I can't have that, it's just going to be me and God, right? Maybe, I'm not going to close this door, is that I am surrounded by people that do care about me. But, stuff has got so twisted in lies that I've caught and everything. And, just things that I've seen that don't make sense. And it raises a flag and it spells out foul play, you know, and and that's my family. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with it? Here's a young man having his life taken way too early. I don't know what he did. I don't know. All I know is what's been told to me, and that he got in an altercation with some kid in Alabama, and he was defending some kids he was with. I don't know, and 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 the guy opened fire on him, and it just doesn't make sense. The place, the location. It it's it's Alabama football town, Tuscaloosa. It's really nice and warming. I watch videos on it on YouTube of what kind of place it is, and I know Alabama. You know, it's got its rough places and stuff. I've never been there, but seeing clips of it and you know looking at Alabama online, you know, any place can be rough, and so I just couldn't wrap my head around it, and I it hurt. It still hurts. Uh, but anyway, I wanted to say thank you for the message. Uh, God's been coming directly to me, uh, along with Satan, and so you know I do feel like the message, specifically from you were speaking directly to me, and if you weren't, then I don't mean to offend you, but if you were, thank you. Thank you. And if you were, of course I'd like to surrender. My nephew's name was Skylar. Skylar Dante Bradley. And, I don't know what kind of person he was away from me. But he was an awesome person when we were around each other. For some reason, he looked up to me. It's probably because maybe a little bit to do with sports, but we had those common interests, but more to do with you know, me just pulling them aside and telling them, you don't want to do this. You want to do this. It's the answer. Simple. You know, you only fight if you're backed into a corner and your life's threatened. You don't pick fights. You respect women. You don't need to be with multiple women like me. I used to do that. I don't do it anymore, but I still perverted porn and shit like that. Just stuff like that. Sorry. You know, anything to make me feel good, but I won't. You know, I tried, and last few nights I'm I'm on these stupid dating sites, and like I promise you, like I'm under attack spiritually, and maybe even more than that. But you know, I start getting all these really young girls just sending me bunches of pictures, and I'm like, and so I told two or three of them, you got to stop. Like, you guys don't even look 18 years old. Like, I'm not that guy, and you should respect yourself more. So I pulled myself out of that, because that was going to lead to death too. And you know, he looked up to me because I could always use myself as an example, you know, to him, to anybody, and explain to him what that road looked like, that you're about to go down if you make that decision. And so right before he dies, or was killed, or whatever you want to call it, I just say he's home now. And so we're doing a little prison workout in the front yard. And he smoked a little vape at the time, and I had picked up cigarettes after 3 years of not using cigarettes. And so I was probably about a month removed from working out every day. And you know, I put him through it, but he kept up, and I was surprised at his conditioning. And you know, that was our last time together, and we played 3 games of 1-on-1, and yeah, I edged him out by a game. And I talked smack in his obituary too, online, but that was our relationship. So I don't know, a week to 3 weeks after he texted me. No, we had a couple conversations, real long conversations about business and his studies and what he wanted to do, and we talked about, you know, outpatient rehab, rehabilitation center. My idea from 8 years ago. We talked about that. But he calls me one day, or texts me one day. I think he texts me first, and he says, Uncle Ryan. I said, what? He said, I don't think I'm gonna finish school. I think I'm gonna drop out. I found a way to get rich. I said, you're out your mind. And I started to, you know, kind of minister to him. You know, I don't know the word. You know, it's in there though. You know, I've read a lot in 3 years every day. But you know, the memorizing the scripture and stuff, I don't know, for some reason it's hard for me. And or I haven't actually sat down and done it. But I guess when it's needed, you know, the Holy Spirit gives it to you. So, you know, a lot of times it'll just come out, and I'll be surprised that I remembered it. But anyway, so we're chatting, and he come up with this great idea. And, you know, I cut him off. I didn't hear any details. he said it had something to do with advertisement, ads online or something. And I'm like, well, what do you think God's will for your life is? And it's probably not for you to drop out of school, you know. Um, when I was walking guys through the steps, I used to always, the example I would give would be, if you don't know what God's will is for your life, which I would say none of us do, we might have an idea or a little piece of what it is, but it could turn out into something totally different. And so, I said, Skylar, ask yourself, what do you think God's will would be for your life, or what it's not for your life? And you can make a nice list for things that are against God's will for your life. Drug and alcohol free, doesn't want you smoking, ruining the temple of God. He doesn't want you having sex before marriage. There's a lot of things that kids don't follow and that I didn't follow, but the world would be a better place if we did those things, and we'd be a lot happier individually. But, I reached them, I think, because about a week later, I'm on Facebook and I see a post, or I get a notification or something, and he had posted something about Jesus. And, I just messaged him. I said, now your head's in the right place. And I hope that he was in the right place before his death, because I'd like to see him again. Anyway, Brian, thanks for listening. This is a 28-minute video. I'm going to try to send a text message if it'll get through that number that was online for you. I noticed too, I don't know if they're all yours, but there's like some Kingdom Music stuff online that's not spelled like the way you spell it. And, stuff like that I feel like was happening to me. And, I'm just looking out for you. So you might want to check that out. That's it. That's all I got, bro. Maybe one day I'll get to one of your revivals. But thanks. Alright? I love you and God bless, man. I'm sorry about your brother.